ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cadet Alex Vargas, and we're here today to celebrate Veterans Day. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the sing of the national anthem by Lindsay Hansen and Wilson's MCJROTC presenting the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free, or the home of the brave?
The Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, November 11th, remaining in the public's imagination as the date that marked the end of the Great War. In November 1918, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. The day's observation included parades and public gatherings, as well as a brief pause in business activities at 11 a.m. On November 11th, 1921, the United States Congress had declared the day a legal federal holiday in honor of all those who participated in the war. On the same day, unidentified soldiers were laid to rest at the Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C., Westminster Abbey in London, and at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. On June 4th, 1926, Congress passed a resolution that the recurring anniversary of Armistice Day should be commemorated with Thanksgiving designed to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between nations, and that the President should issue an annual proclamation calling for the observance of Armistice Day. By that time, 27 state legislators had made November 11th a legal federal holiday. An act approved May 13th, 1938 made November 11th a federal holiday, and dedicated to the cause of world peace and to be hereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. In actuality, there are no U.S. national holidays because the states retain the right to designate their own, and the government can only designate holidays for federal employees. In practice, however, states almost always follow the federal lead. The American effort during World War II saw the greatest mobilization of the U.S. Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force in the nation's history. There are more than 16 million people involved in the war's effort from U.S. soil. Some 5.7 million more served in the Korean War, which takes place from 1950 to 1953. In 1954, after lobbying efforts by war veterans service organizations, the 83rd U.S. Congress amended the 1938 Act that had made the Armistice Day a holiday, striking the word armistice in favor of veterans. President Dwight D. Eisenhower on June 1, 1954, signed the legislation. From then on, November 11th became a day to honor American veterans of all wars. Britain, France, Australia, and Canada also commemorate the veterans of World Wars I and II on or near November 11th. Canada has Remembrance Day, while Britain has Remembrance Sunday on the second day of November. In Europe, Britain, and the Commonwealth countries, it is common to observe 2 minutes of silence at 11 a.m. every November 11th. Now for one of our own teachers here at Wilson who is a veteran, Mr. Marlowe. He grew up a country boy in Montana. He hung out with his friends playing cans with BB guns and shooting groundhogs and squirrels with a slingshot. At the age of 18, he joined the Army and became a sniper. I guess he must have gotten good at shooting squirrels. He was enlisted for 4 years, with his favorite memories being of him and the U.S. Army 2nd Ranger Battalion traveling around the world. His jobs varied from being part of a machine gun crew to being a sniper and guarding Army generals. All the while, he was attending college. He continued his college academics until he came out of the Army ranked as a corporal, along with finding himself a lovely girlfriend. They now have one child together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Marlowe.
I'm going to have a discussion with whoever added to that. That wasn't exactly what I turned into then. So, I love talking. For those of you who've had me in class, you know that. I love the sound of my own voice and stuff. But I have nervousness about being up here for this because both Veterans Day and Memorial Day have extra meaning to me. And there's that desire not to screw it up and really show my respect and desire that this day continue on and be recognized. So this isn't quite how I normally go about things. So I'm a veteran, and a veteran is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check payable to the United States of America for amount up to and including their own life. Regardless of your personal political views, it is an honor to serve one's country, and there are way too many people in this country who have forgotten that. Some of you really like Facebook. Most of the stuff on there is garbage. I found this quote on there. I thought it actually did a good job of saying what it means to be a veteran, of that sacrifice. The most important thing, though, in the quote was the idea of service to your country. A lot of people, when they hear service to their country, automatically think the military, but it's not limited to the military. You see political positions, police officers, firemen, doctors, teachers, or anyone else willing to help people in need. All these things are service to our country, and they're needed and important. For myself, though, my first significant act of service to this country was joining the military. But let me be really honest. I didn't join the military to serve my country. I was young, I was dumb, and I thought I was invincible. I grew up playing violent video games, playing war, and all sorts of other testosterone-driven activities. And I joined the military for the glory that I thought you would see there. It goes a little differently than that. I did a lot in the military. Jumped out of airplanes, I was a part of the special operations community. I shot a lot of things and I blew a lot of stuff up. Enjoyed every minute of it, and I had a great experience and a lot of learning lessons in the military. But one in particular changed the way I looked at serving in the military and what it means to be a veteran. I was lucky enough to be selected to go to SEER school later in my military career. And what SEER school is a training for what to do if you ever end up a prisoner of war in a combat situation. And so they put you through a lot of undesirable circumstances. Pretty much everything to break you down mentally, just put you in these worst conditions and see how you respond and what you can hold together. And you learn a lot about yourself. And on the last day of the training, things happened in this prison camp, and they raised the American flag and they start playing the national anthem. And I'm standing there and I start to cry. Okay, listening to this music, watching this flag go up. And my manly ego kicks in and like, you shouldn't be crying. And I look around me, and the 28 other men that were in this training with me, most of them were special forces, actual combat veterans that had been there and done that. And I see them crying as well. And I had this realization that what the flag and this country actually means, and the rights it gives you and allows us to do, whatever your political inclination is. What does Veterans Day mean to me now? It's a day of acknowledgement for someone who has chosen a different path. You have your high school, college, work, life, all that stuff. Veterans have gone a different way for a short amount of time. They give up their lives to serve something else for a period of time. And when that's over, they can't return to the normal life. There's always something different. So it's that acknowledgement of a group of people who are on the fold or outside the fold that just had different experiences than everyone else, that did something different. Veterans Day is not limited to those who have served in combat. I hear that a lot. Well, you weren't in combat, you're not a veteran. Not true. If you were willing to give your time and energy in the military, you're a veteran from day one. Why is Veterans Day important? It is simply a thank you to those in our history who have done what others would not, for those who have given something extra for their country. In closing, though it may seem cliche to say this the day before Veterans Day, is go thank a veteran, okay? It actually matters. And maybe ask them for a story at the same time. Then shut down, sit up, and listen to something amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marlowe, for that heartfelt message. I would now like to introduce some students who are going to read letters sent home by soldiers and Marines in different wars throughout history. We first have Lorraine Ellison reading a letter from U.S. Captain George Montgomery of the 82nd Airborne, sent to his fiancée, Arlene.
June 25th, 1944, 3 weeks after the Normandy invasion, World War II. Arlene, my dearest, today is our 20th day in action, yet it seems like years. What has happened to me and my battalion would be scoffed at even in a 10-cent novel as being impossible. Why the few of us left alive are alive is something to figure out in church. I've seen as many of my very best friends killed beside me. I just can't believe it is all really happening. I never in my wildest dreams knew such terror could grip your very soul. The business of landing deep in enemy territory and trying to hold a position assaulted and shelled from 4 sides until friendly troops break through is something I hope they never ask me to do again. The night we jumped, D-Day 6 hours, was a payoff night. The Jerrys knew our plans down to the last detail and were waiting for us with everything they had. My shoe was on fire from tracer bullets. Landing right in front of the machine gun emplacement. I counted up my harness and crawled for a couple of hours with bullets whistling past my ears, coming from seemingly every direction. I can't tell you what else went on, but the story gets good from here. I hope it won't be too long before I can tell you personally all that has happened. Anyway, God alone brought me safely through this far, of that I'm sure. My darling, I love you more than life itself. I realized that many times these past 3 weeks when I thought I was going to be killed, and always the regret of missing, seeing, and marrying you was topmost in my mind at the time. I think I can say my love for you has been pretty well tested. Goodbye for a while. Now, reading a letter from a Marine during the Vietnam War in 1968 to family and friends back home, Jade English.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Van Overen, BJ, and Jeff. Well, I didn't last too long in Vietnam. I was there only a week before I was medevaced out. I'm in a hospital in Okinawa now. 2 days after I reported into my outfit, they sent me out on patrol. It was an operation 27 miles northwest of Da Nang. We were supposed to be out for 5 days, but on the 4th night, the VC hit us hard. I won't go into all the details of what happened, but you might say we got wiped out. Out of the 14 of us on the hill, 8 are dead and 3 of us are in the hospital. I've got a hole in my leg about as big as my fist, plus some pieces of shrapnel in my foot and my shoulder blade. I feel pretty lucky. When I was on the hill with all those dead Marines around me, I felt like the luckiest person in the world. I stayed in Da Nang for 2 days before they sent me here. A couple of hours before I left, my CO, First Sergeant, and the chopper pilot who got us off the hill came to the Da Nang hospital to see me. They said I did a real good job on the radio. When we got hit, I guess whoever was monitoring back in the company area went and woke up the First Sergeant. So anyway, they gave me my Purple Heart and promoted me to corporal. So I'll be here in the hospital for 5 or 6 weeks, and then I'll go back to Nam and try my luck again. Say hi to Ron and Linda for me, and write when you can. Pat. Coming up now is Matthew Schlinker to read an anonymous letter from a service member during Operation Desert Storm, taking place in Kuwait, 1990-1991.
I sometimes am afraid that we just won't be coming back. I know it's silly, it's just how I feel sometimes. I just wanted to let you know how appreciative I am of that care package for Christmas that you sent. It's very nice to know that there are people out there, besides our families, that are so thoughtful and care so much about our cause. It's difficult to be over here believing that all the backing we have is from our families. But with people like yourself, it gives us more of an incentive to go on. It helps us believe that there truly is a reason for us all being here. Not only to defend our families, but all Americans. Again, thank you. Support is everything. And for our final letter today, Chris Billingsley will be reading an excerpt letter from Army PFC Jesse A. Gibbons, 34, Springfield, Missouri. Private Gibbons was killed May 1st, 2003, when his tank fell into the Euphrates River after the bank on Litchfield Park gave way. This letter was written to be delivered from his family if he died. Melissa, his wife, Dakota, his 6-year-old stepson, and Beanie. The name used for his son, Carson, who was born May 29th.
My family, I never thought that I would be writing a letter like this. I really don't know where to start. I've been getting bad feelings, though and well, if you're reading this. The happiest moments in my life all deal with my little family. I'll always have with me the small moments we all share. The moments when you quit taking life so serious and smiled. The sound of a beautiful boy's laughter or the simple nudge of a baby's unborn. You will never know how complete you made me. You saved me from loneliness and taught me how to think beyond myself. You taught me how to live and to love. You opened my eyes to a world I never dreamed existed. Dakota, you taught me how to care until it hurts. You taught me how to smile. You taught me how that life isn't so serious and sometimes you just have to play. You have a big, beautiful heart through life. You need to keep it open and follow it. Never be afraid to be yourself. I will always be there in our park when you dream so we can play. I love you and hope someday you will understand why I didn't come home. Please be proud of me. Being, I never got to see you, but I know in my heart you are beautiful. I know you will be strong and big-hearted like your mom and brother. I will always have with me the feel of the soft nudges on your mom's belly and the joy I felt when I found out you were on your way. I love you. Melissa, I have never been as blessed as the day I met you. You are my angel, soulmate, wife, lover, and best friend. I'm sorry. I did not want to have to write this letter. There's so much more I need to say, so much more I need to share. A lifetime's worth. I married you for 1,000,000 lifetimes. That's how long I will be with you. Please keep my baby safe. Please find it in your heart to forgive me for leaving you alone. Teach our babies to live life to the fullest and tell yourself to do the same. I will always be there with you, Melissa. I will always want you, need you, and love you in my heart, my mind, and my soul. Do me a favor. After you tuck the children in, give them hugs and kisses from me. Go outside and look at the stars and count them. Don't forget to smile. Love always. Your husband, Jess.
Now, if you'd please look to the stage, Tony Lopez and Cordell Colburn will be performing Regarding Stacks by Bon Iver.
Everything that happened comes from home. This is pouring rain. This is paradise. Well, I keep throwing down too. 100 at a time. Well, it's hard to find you when your money's gone and you're drunk as hell. On your back of the racks and the stacks in your mouth. In the back of your racks and the stacks of your mouth. In the back of your racks and you're stacking your mouth. Well, I've been twisting to the sun and the moon. I needed to replace. And the fountain in the front yard is rusted out. All my love was down in a frozen ground. And there's a black cross sitting across from me. His wiry legs across. He's dangling my keys, he even fakes a toss. Whatever could it be that has brought me to this loss? On the back of your racks and the stacks in your load. In the back of your racks and the stacks of your load. In the back of your racks and you're stacking your load. And this is not the sound of a new man or a crispy realization. It's the unlocking and the lift away, or your love will be safe with me.
Thank you, Tony and Cordell, for that lovely rendition. We'll now be having the band play the Armed Forces Medley, and if you know someone who has served or is serving, please stand when you hear their Branches song being played. Then sit after that song is over. Coast Guard. Air Force. Navy. Thank you, Ben and Mr. Hurt. Now, if all those who stood would please stand up and everyone look around. Look at how many people we have that know veterans. It is to honor all those veterans that we know. That is why we do this assembly and have that day off of school on the 11th. This now concludes the 2015 Wilson's Veterans Day Assembly. Students, please return to your previous class period. Coast Guard.